Time for some Necromunda Ash Waste extras. So this video is going to be just me covering all of the other stuff that I picked up and or some other thoughts and or build information that I'm going to go over. So the Ash Waste Nomads cards obviously are not the same cards that come in the box. These cards are specific to the Nomads themselves, whereas the cards in the box are mainly for vehicles and or just generic Ash Waste tactics, usable for just about any gang. The Ash Waste cards, at first glance, are a little sneaky-ish, sort of, kind of like, almost like the Dalak. But it's not so bad. The second pack, the Orlok vehicles or whatnot, that covers, obviously, Orlok vehicles, duh. But the thing is, there's a lot of like miscellaneous stuff in there to assist the gang, based around the vehicles. It's worth the pickup, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm just going to kind of glaze over these things, and I'll get back to you in just a sec. So on to the sprues. With the Ash Waste Nomads, you get several blast rifles. You get, per sprue, 2 long rifles, so you can build up to 4 long rifle holders. You get very little in the way of pistols. You only get 2 pistols. And there's 2 chain glaives and some other miscellaneous stuff like the monoclaw, and there is a blade in there as well. The one thing to note, the Helomites do come with a pistol, and I opted not to do the pistol on the Helomites. I really wanted to do a chain glaive on all 4 of them, but I ended up wanting to have a chain glaive on my leader as well. So I ended up putting 2 long rifles and 2 chain glaives on the Helomites. Most likely I will only use the glaive ones. So as you can see here, I'm pointing out, you got the long rifles, there are the chain glaive and the other miscellaneous weapons that are on there. You got the blast rifles, you got the knife. Honestly, it feels like with these guys, there's a little bit less in the way of customization for the weapons. And most likely this is going to be one of those, oh look, we're coming out with a weapons pack and a book. Buy the weapons pack and the book. Honestly, I'm a junkie, so I probably will end up getting the whatever they come out with for the ash waste. So moving on to the stats for the gang, I am kind of adjusting the camera here a little bit. So what you've got is the stats are pretty basic across the line for all of the gang members here. There's nothing crazy, nothing out of the norm. I know there's a lot of people that are kind of turned off by the sky mantles, that these big protrusions from their back, but honestly that's what they use to cover themselves or whatnot when they're trying to hide themselves in the ash wastes. The weapons, like I said earlier, you don't really get a whole lot in the way of weapons. The missile launcher is nice, I'm not going to lie. It's kind of neat having a gang that has a missile launcher straight out of the box. So I did build one model that has the rocket launcher, and most likely I will end up using the rocket launcher for another gang at some point. So I am going to use all 4 of the long rifles, and the rest I'm going to fill out with the rocket launcher. And I have another box here, so I can build more if I want. So that's kind of the reason why I did this. So what I ended up doing, I ended up kind of just mixing and matching a little bit. So with the stat lines, we've already pointed out, as I said, the stat lines are pretty basic. You're not going to see anything too crazy here. It's pretty much on par with most other gangs, and they look like they'll fit in pretty well. Their extra options, the fact that they get some protection in the waist, it's a good thing. The long rifles are actually surprisingly cost effective as far as I can tell. And to tell you the truth, the 2 weapons that are really important here are the charge caster, which is the missile launcher, and the long rifle. Now, the blast rifles are pretty good too because they get the shock ability, and that could come in handy as well. So you've got all your basic abilities and whatnot. As far as I can tell, there are no new skills included in the book here. There's nothing new in the way of that. And then you've got your basic weapon traits and whatnot. That all's covered in this in the instruction manual here. Like I said in the other video, make sure you don't throw this away accidentally, because you're going to need it. And that's just kind of a basic overview of the rules. So I did start, sorting through my stuff here, and what I'm going to do is the first thing I did was build the Helomite, and as I always do, I just kind of snip the pieces and put them on the steps. That way I have everything ready to go, and I can just, glue, assemble, done. So everything has been magically put together here. Yes, I know it's not real magic, but it looks nice. These guys, the bugs are really interesting looking. I'm not sure if they're really my thing, but they're cool at least. I mean, they're neat. I kind of wish that we had gotten more weapon options, honestly, because the only options are a pistol and binoculars, or a long rifle, or the chain lance. Now, for my leader, to give him some extra options here, I went with the chain lance, and instead of going with the monoclaw, I actually gave him the pistol from one of the Helomite riders. So make sure you save the Helomite weaponry and whatnot that you don't use, because you can recycle it. So that's what I've done here, is I have recycled that pistol into my gang. It everything fits normally. Now, one thing I will say, and one thing I have started to do, is I mixed up some green stuff, because if you look here, some of the models actually have a hole. You literally can stick something all the way through the torso of some of these models. So what I've started doing with these guys, because I couldn't get the arms to stick and stay very well, what I'm doing here is I actually started taking a little bit of green stuff, and obviously if you're going to work with green stuff, you got to wet your fingers a little bit so that it doesn't stick so bad. But what I did was I put just a little tiny dab of green stuff in the shoulder socket to make up for the fact that it's hollow. Now, as you can see here, I'm pointing out, there is a little bit of green stuff left over, and all you got to do is smooth that out. Honestly, I'm probably going to leave it and paint it like cloth because it's just that easy. It's that simple. So, in the end, I did end up building all 4 long rifles. I built the charge caster. I built my leader with the chain lance and the pistol. And for the rest of them, I had 1 pistolier, and the rest were all blast rifles. So, pretty plain and simple gang layout. Now, I did make the mistake of putting the basing down on these before I glued them down. And I never do that. I don't know why I did that this time, but it works okay for the models because they have the flat feet that you can just stick down. But the Helomites are a little bit wonky, and you definitely need to stick them down before you put the basing in. There's just no way. The quad has a few odd pieces here and there. They're some very fragile pieces. What I'm pointing to here, the front, that little piece of wires and coils actually broke off. So anyway, other than just a couple of little odd wonky pieces, it looks actually pretty good, to tell you the truth. And I'm probably going to regret putting it all together and gluing it in, but we'll see how that happens. I still have to build the other one. Anyway, those are the extras. Thank you for watching.